Casey, do you want sabotage by the Beastie Boys again, or? Love that you were well aware of what was happening, because sometimes player request songs in the middle of the match. And then you find out that Phil likes Cardi B. Who would have known that? I never would have known that. The greatest day of my life. Phil's playlist at home goes Metallica, Cardi B, Baby Shark. In that order.
Versus Paul Watman and Miles Partain. Nine to 6, the early lead for Brunner and Shaw.
Oh, it is go time. What a finish we had of the women's semifinals, and I am looking for more firepower here for the gentlemen, and I think we've got it. Oh, yes, I think we've got it. Hermosa Beach, you excited for this semifinal? You know who's coming out here? Oh, my gosh, we have got some heavy hitters. And these guys, oh, they used to bounce balls so high on the hard court. This guy out of Long Beach State University, National Player of the Year in 2013, originally out of Honolulu, Hawaii. Ladies and gentlemen, he is an Olympian. He is an 8-time winner on the AVP Tour. He is Taylor Crabb. Partner, it was the very next year in 2014 at Brigham Young University that he was National Player of the Year. He represented the USA at the Olympic Games, and now he is here on the beach looking to make his second final in just 3 AVP tournaments. Let me hear it for the heavy-hitting Taylor Sander. And their opponents. This first guy also out of BYU, but he wasn't quite as good at indoor volleyball as the other two were. He was like, but that's fine. Who cares? I'm gonna go play a little bit professionally indoors. I'm gonna get bored really quick, and then I'm gonna come because people appreciate what I do on the beach, don't they? Yes, they finally appreciate. He has got a whole list of songs he's waiting for DJ Rouchet to play this match too. Ladies and gentlemen, let me hear it for the ever-entertaining Mr. Casey Patterson. Can you imagine how good Phil would have been if he had played indoor volleyball? Are you kidding me? We're so lucky he didn't, because we would have never seen him on the beach because he'd be making like $7 million in Russia playing indoor volleyball, and he was like, I don't even care. But you know what? Thankfully, you're on the beach because he is the most dominant player in beach volleyball history. Let me hear it for Philip Dalhausser.
I would say just a handful of Olympians out on the sand for this men's semifinal action. Phil Dalhausser alongside Casey Patterson, 4-time Olympian Phil Dalhausser. Casey Patterson, also an Olympian, playing alongside the GOAT, facing off against the new partnership, Crabb and Sander. That's Taylor Crabb and Taylor Sander playing in their second final here in the early 2022 AVP season. Who will be heading to the final? We are soon to find out. Cameron Irwin alongside Olympic gold medalist, national champion, too many times to count, Rich, just kidding, Dave Lynn. Here we go.
So fired up for this one, Cam. This should be filled with fireworks.
And we're going to start first contact. They're going to say that's a double play, double contact on Phil. Phil's smiling. I don't know if you're going to get away with that one, Phil. This is a rematch from the New Orleans final that went the direction of Dalhausser and Patterson. That was a 3-set battle, 17-21, 21-19, 15-13. Short serve missed by Taylor Crabb. You heard it from Mark Sherman, National Player of the Year. Both Crabb and Sander, at one point or another. Phenomenal indoor players. Crabb's been on the beach for a while now. Earned a bid to the 2020 Olympics. Unfortunately, had to deal with some COVID. Triborn filling his space. But nonetheless, one of the greats on tour. And he makes plays like that look way too easy.
Yeah, I think that the Taylors, they're going to have to win all those little bang-bang broken plays like that because of the advantage that Phil Dalhausser has at the net. Or Taylor Sander has to get very hot and get, say, 5 blocks to make it happen.
Just give you a little bit. So you talked about winning those little quick plays, right? But there's a lot of service pressure that can come on both sides of the net. Taylor Sander known for his indoor ability from the service line, but he has brought that to the beach, so you better watch out. One of the greatest servers, too, of all time. Phil Dalhausser on the other side. And Casey says, don't forget about me. I'm here, too. Give me an ace.
You're absolutely right. The service pressure is going to be a huge component. Who can turn up the heat? Who can score a few points, get the other team out of system? In the last match, in the quarterfinal, it was Phil Dalhausser who was really on point with his serve. But as you said, Cam, when Taylor Sander, who has brought that indoor mentality to that back line, when he starts bombing that jump serve, you better look out.
Casey Patterson, I mentioned also an Olympian, went in 2016, alongside Jake Gibb. And the finesse of Casey Patterson. A lot of experience between those two, Patterson and Dalhausser. Nearly 500 tournaments played between the two of them. And Taylor Sander just in his first season alone.
You know, standing next to Taylor Sander, he's a lot taller than I thought. You know, people keep talking about how he's undersized. Yeah. He's a force to be reckoned with. He's a big guy, and he's got a huge vertical leap, so athletic and so fun to watch. The two, Sander and Crabb, take a look right here. The quick arm swing of Taylor Crabb. He's a giant killer. Doesn't matter who he's going up against.
6 feet tall is Taylor Crabb. You mentioned Taylor Sander. He's 6'5", so definitely a force to be reckoned with. As the tough serve shows up there, getting the out-of-system play and the point for Crabb and Sander.
Patterson's got to jump and poke that ball in. He knows it's coming with a lot of top spin close to the net. Got to keep that in play. Give yourself another opportunity.
Just missing long. Right on the shoulder of Phil Dalhausser. You can see those sweet jerseys on Taylor Crabb and Taylor Sander. They're actually starting a clothing line, Meikai. So if you want to check that out, meikai.com. It's a place to go. Working with some jerseys, some boardies as well. And a block for Phil Dalhausser.
And you know what? He took all of it right there. All of the angle. Sometimes you see people jump into the angle. This time he made sure that ball was not getting around him. That's what you want to do. That big press. Sander could not see that late move. Beautiful play by Phil.
Taylor Crabb goes underneath the arm of Phil Dalhausser. Now we talk about one of the greatest of all time in terms of blocking. I mean, what do you even do when you're facing off against a block like Phil? Where can you go?
Well, I love what Taylor did right there is he challenged it, right? That ball's either going to bounce straight down on Taylor's side or it's going to rip past Phil as that last one did. But you just have to go for it every time. If you come timid, you're in trouble. And nothing timid about that by Taylor Sander, absolutely ripping it. You're going to see a lot of aggressive play on the side of Taylor Sander and Taylor Crabb. Here's a good look, beautiful dig. Options over the net for the kill, and look at the fire.
So much fire coming off the two-time Olympian, 2016, 2020, earning the bronze and an ace at the hand of Taylor Crabb. I feel like that jump topspin serve where he actually just controls it, doesn't necessarily have a ton of pace to it, but he's placing that. It's a different look.
Yeah, we've talked about that all weekend. The placing of the ball rather than having to hit velocity. If you can place that jump serve in the right spot, it's going to cause almost more problems. You can bomb it all day, but if it goes to the player, I used to love the topspin serve. It's easier to read, but if you're putting it in places on the court that are difficult to pass, that's a whole different ball game, and not a lot of players have that type of command on the ball from the back line like Taylor Crabb.
Yeah, one of the best hand on a ball that you see is at the hand of Taylor Crabb. So much control, finesse. Casey Patterson getting a beautiful swing there. Big swing. 9-7. Crabb and Sander are coming out ripping at the ball. Hiya! I think that was right through the uprights. Casey Patterson cheering at anything, including a missed serve his direction. The swab hawk looking extra long. I think this is the longest we've ever seen Casey Patterson's hair. Trying to find a little extra superpower in there. Just waiting for him to French braid it. Casey Patterson sitting right in the angle. Quick touch and nice placement.
Smart play right there, right? Looked like he was going to rip the ball, kind of downshifts, rolls it over. That's the thing about great volleyball players. You have to have both. The finesse shot, you have to have the power as well. In the quarterfinals, we saw Patterson ripping a lot of balls. Now he's placing a lot here, and you got to be able to make the adjustments and be aware of when you need to make those.
Casey Patterson, 42 years old, as is his partner, Phil Dalhausser. Also a product of BYU, as is the man on the other side of the net, Taylor Sander.
Low pass. And bringing it, getting out of trouble right there. You know, I got an opportunity to talk with Phil just before this match, and I said, Phil, I thought you were retired. You know, you retired at the end of 21. Now you're 2-0. You won in Austin. You won with a new partner in Casey Patterson in New Orleans. And what's going on? He goes, I only retired from international volleyball. That's all he said. International. And I'm like, oh, okay.
Nearly trying to get the cover with his foot was Taylor Crabb right there. But Dalhausser and Patterson, there's just a little too much pace coming off that block of Phil Dalhausser. So to the technical timeout they go. Cameron Irwin alongside Dane Blanton, and we are having such a great time here in Hermosa Beach. And this men's semifinal, wow, there's another one taking place just behind us. Miles Partain and Paul Lotman, can they find their way to a final here in Hermosa? They're unbeaten right now.
Yeah, you know, I think it may be their weekend, right? And if someone can get past Phil here, if the Taylors can get past Phil, it might be their weekend. So if I had to bet on someone, it's Miles Partain, the 20-year-old, so focused, so locked in, playing with Paul Lotman, who used to play indoor and has just been a force on the net. Look at the dig, look at the control by Miles Partain. The kid can do it all. He's a lefty, love watching him.
So they dropped this first set out on court number 1, so they're going to have to mount the comeback in order to get to the final. If they do, well, we would end up with a first-time winner, regardless of what takes place. And here's a look at how Crabb and Sander got to this semifinal. They have also not dropped a match here in Hermosa. Phil Dalhausser and Casey Patterson were 7-0 before the loss yesterday on the 2022 season. And that loss came at the hand of Paul Lotman and Miles Partain. French fries on the board.
And then Phil and Casey came out earlier today and really took care of business against Billy Allen and his partner Jeremy Casebeer. And, you know, the bounce back Phil's a little different than regular Phil, kind of going through the back. And once he gets a loss, it seems like he turns it up a little bit of a notch. And we'll see if he can do it here in Hermosa.
You know, it's funny, too. I walked out to the beach this morning, and everyone's getting warmed up. The women's game's about to get going. And what's Casey Patterson doing? He's out on the court with 3 kids, having a great time, just playing a little pepper. Why not? Getting loose, staying warm. I mean, that's the Casey Patterson energy, you know, right there. Making sure everyone around him is having a great time, as is he.
Yeah, when I saw him playing with the kids, I was like, doesn't he have a match to play? But that's Casey Patterson, right? You know, he's so great with the fans. with all the kids, with all the volunteers and the ball boys and girls that help out, and he's just been so great for the sport, and he
great advocate for the game.
Yeah, and he's interesting and he's fun to watch. You know, I always encourage him more breakdancing out on the court, more talking to yourself, more talking to the fans. That's the fun Casey Patterson that I think plays at another level.
Now, without a doubt, again, both of these athletes, 42 years old, they've talked about the pressure, or at least Casey has, about playing alongside the GOAT, Phil Dalhausser.
Yeah, that's a lot of pressure, and he mentioned it, and Rich Lamborn and myself were talking about it as well. It's not as easy as you think. You play with Phil, and the expectation is so high that the pressure's all on you. You're going to get the majority of the serves, and you're going to have to make it happen, and if you lose, it's probably on
your
you.
fault.
Not on Phil, but what a treat it is to see the two 42-year-olds playing really some of the best volleyball that we've seen. It would be amazing to see if Phil can make it 3 out of 3 tournaments in 2022. And unleashing from the right side with the Suave Hawk, and that's Casey Patterson.
His bangs are getting in his eyes
Yeah.
as he bangs this ball right over the top of the net. Looking like he's got a 42-inch vertical instead.
And there's the talkie. I wish you know what? I think we should mic him up. Is there any possibility of that?
He probably has one on him. Who knows? 14-13.
Ooh, talk about position. That was a nice side spinner.
And sets up the right side very well for the block of Phil Dalhausser. A lot of times you see teams attacking those sidelines, trying to put teams in a little bit of a box from where they're attacking from. Nice job there in terms of the gameplay.
I think you're absolutely right. That's what happened there. That side spin serve kind of pinned Taylor Sander to the right side. Didn't get much of an approach because it was short, and then you got to deal with the big block, and Phil ends up stuffing him down.
Let's see what Casey can muster up here. This time he goes right up the middle. Swap block, Phil Dalhausser.
Oh my goodness, those two players are playing in the penthouse right there. Taylor Sander and Phil up so high. Phil swats that ball, and they're able to cover it, but then hitting that ball out of bounds. Wow. Wish I could get that high.
It's honestly remarkable. And some of the deepest sand they'll play in here in Hermosa Beach. Verticals on full display. Here's another look at Sander. You gotta like the control he has when attacking, can choose his spots. Still so new to the beach game. I know he grew up playing beach, but in terms of playing here on the tour and really dedicating himself, still getting some of those beach pieces right into his game. But one thing we do know he has is the serve as well as the swing.
Yeah, and Taylor Sander, what a lot of people don't know, they think he's just coming straight from indoor. He's got quite a beach background growing up.
For sure.
And so he's got that in him. He just has played the majority of his time, now just 30 years of age, on the indoor courts.
Both Taylors sit at 30 years old. Rep by Waikea. Let's see those sweet jerseys on them. One of the things I always note when seeing Sander on the sand is how quick he is in terms of getting off the sand as a blocker. It seems like he makes some really good swat maneuvers and touches a lot, even though we call him undersized at 6'5".
He does. He's so agile. He lands. He's able to turn quickly, explosively, and get the roll shots just over the block. And it's fun. He's just a great overall volleyball player, and it's a lot of fun to watch.
Oh my goodness. Phil Dalhausser from the 5th story. That ball even hit a hot pocket from the service line. It bounced out of the stadium.
It ended up a little short, and there it is. You talk about placement. That's all placement. Completely freezing Crabb and Sander. All they could do was look at one another.
He just misses that one in lieu of his wrist turning too far. 18-16. Keeping things close. Phil Dalhausser's 148th AVP event. He's got 61 titles, looking for his 61st. He's got to get through the semifinal first. That is why you do not toss the ball his direction.
Yeah, you want to keep him honest every once in a while, but when you see that, you're like, okay, he's ready. We're going to go the other direction.
61 AVP titles, an additional 38 FIVB. 21 second place finishes, 21 thirds, and 1/4 as well. He's been in the semifinals 105 times and 148. Nice side out though from Taylor Crabb, 17-19. Been going at Crabb. A lot of teams have been discussing who do you go after in terms of Sander and Crabb. Both great side out.
That's
wow.
pretty. That is pretty. I mean,
that
Taylor,
was behind his head.
Yeah, Taylor Crabb thought he had him. He knew he was kind of going cross body, but he ends up looping it. It's kind of a jumbo from about 8 feet off the net. What a beautiful shot. That's how you use the entire court.
Just absolutely remarkable. That ball was a foot behind his head and he still made great contact. It's set point, Dalhausser and Patterson. Sander for the side out, and no good. Dalhausser hanging the hands above the height of the net, 21-17. Dalhausser and Patterson climbing their way out of the contenders are just one set away from the final. Can the youngins go up against the vets and find a set to push us to 3?
At Corner Bakery, we're making your choice simple with Choose 2 options every day. Choose 2 of your favorites and turn a simple lunch into a perfectly paired meal. And we're not talking about a few Choose 2 options. Pair up any sandwich or panini, any cafe fresh salad or warm simmering soup, or any pan sauteed pasta. So many kitchen crafted options, so little time. Your perfect Choose 2 combination is waiting at the Corner Bakery.
Dear mainland, aloha. My brother and I hear that most of you only disable your phones when you fly. You call it airplane mode. But maybe you don't have to get on a plane to get away, yeah? Allow my brother to demonstrate. You know what we call this? Kona mode. One life, right? Mahalo.
Longboard Island Lager and Big Wave Golden Ale from Kona Brewing.
It's the choices we make that define us.
Tryon Trevor is coming off a tough, heartbreaking loss.
And ultimately, the enemy is within. Some people want it, some wish for it, but others make it happen.
Tryon Trevor is super lethal, bringing fire and passion to the court.
How will you take charge?
Those radio gym shorts that you have from college, they're done. Get them out of here. It's time to upgrade your short game with the one from Fabletics Men.
We love them. Your girlfriend will be stealing these. They're the best.
This fabric fixes another major issue, fit.
It's got this crazy stretch to it that looks so cute when I do my yoga or errands or like literally anything. They're the most comfortable, best feeling luxe-tastic fabric that we have ever worn.
Little limbo action here on Stadium Court. We got all the competitions taking place, including Mr. Triborn checking in here in the booth. We've also got a little KB action in the booth. Some old friends checking in here in Hermosa as we like to have a good time. Mark Sherman down on the sand, Cameron Irwin in the booth alongside Dane Blanton. Men's semifinal action. Let's take a look at how Phil Dalhausser and his partner Casey Patterson have found themselves here in this semifinal. We mentioned the loss to Lotman and Partain yesterday. Then they took down Allen and K-Spear. Find themselves here. Dalhausser, 3+ blocks in each match. Yeah, I would say that's a fair number. Dane Blanton, Casey Patterson also 8 kills per set. He's obviously going to see the majority of the side out.
Yeah, I think the Lotman-Partain match kind of woke them up, Casey and Phil. They were beat up pretty good in that match. It was pretty decisive. It wasn't as if Lotman and Partain squeaked it out or stole it at the end. They controlled it from the midway through the first set all the way, but I think that woke up, and I said that kind of contenders bracket Phil is a little bit different Phil, playing with an urgency, and you can see it right here, serving tough and blocking extremely well. He's giving fits to the Taylors.
Yeah, without a doubt, there is definitely a sense of urgency on the side of Patterson and Dalhausser. You gotta like the way they played in set number 1. You mentioned some numbers, and Phil Dalhausser has added in a few blocks. There's 3 total for him in terms of blocks and 4 control blocks. So he's doing a lot of work taking up space along the height of the net.
We kind of knew that Phil would own the net a little bit, and we said that the broken plays, the off plays have to be won by the Taylors. But to this point, it seems like Patterson and Phil have been dominating both.
Yeah, and it was interesting too because Taylor Sander has come into this match. The last few matches, he's had about 5 or so blocks in each of those matches. So it's important to note that that's missing from the stat line for him right now. Facing off against 2 great attackers, both Phil and Casey. Casey's kind of been shooting the ball around a little bit though.
I like that idea, kind of a jump float deep middle, just a little bit long by Taylor Crabb.
Right back and add another block to the stat line. Phil Dalhausser. How many times have we said that?
A lot. And we will continue to say it as long as he's out on the court.
I'm not going to complain about it. Look at that. Look at the handwork there. See how he presses that ball back down? He's not just up there taking space. Ooh, talk about timing. That's a change of timing. Cagey play from Taylor Crabb.
But that was low and around. So Phil's going to give you that little alley between him and the antenna. And if you can hit it, that's great. But more times than not, players will err. Look at it. Little alley. He's got to hit that shot perfectly.
Perfect.
If he makes any error, it's out. So that is Phil. You know, he knows exactly, precisely what he's doing every single time he jumps at the net.
Forcing you to play the low percentage ball. Sander from the middle. It's the right idea.
Yeah, right idea, but did not execute. Just a little bit wide. And Phil is now, I would say, in the minds a little more than he was at the beginning of the match. Now he's actually posted the blocks, and so you're trying to go around him. And that's not a stat we keep, but when you're hitting balls out, Phil's not getting credit for that. But that's the reason the ball's being hit out.
Yeah, without a doubt. Phil Dalhausser just looming in the mind anytime he plays against anyone, really. 4-3 now. Look at the hitting efficiencies for Dalhausser and Patterson. 529 compared to 265. Casey in his, I'm not even sure, frog stance in terms of reception there. Stretching those hip flexors as he finds another ball. He's smiling, the double high five. He liked that one.
Yeah, this is awesome right here. You don't see this a lot. It's the jumbo to the corner, and against a defender like Taylor Crabb. Taylor Crabb, halfway through the air, knew that he was not going to get that, and all you could do is watch and hope it was out. Beautiful shot by Patterson.
No free ice cream today for Casey Patterson. 4-5, just a 1-point game. Crabb and Sander have missed a few serves, but they're trying to find something from the service line. Net giving Phil a little extra help. Oh, and Crabb wants that back. That's a rarity to see a ball on his platform not go the direction he wants it to.
You're absolutely right. That's what makes Taylor Crabb so good. He usually controls anything that's hit to him. He takes care of it and usually converts it into offense. That time, just a little bit late getting his feet set.
Don't welcome those if you're Crabb and Sander. Phil Dalhausser recently starting his beach volleyball academy out in Orlando, Florida. Might want to check that out, get some coaching from the GOAT. Joust. Oh, and we liked it though, Taylor. I feel like I just want to give you the point regardless of the net violation at his hand.
And head referee John King didn't realize that his umpire had called the net. Check this out right here. Great joust at the net, and then it's a 50-50 ball. Taylor Sander just thunders this about the 6-foot line, but he follows through and hits the net. Unfortunately for him, point for Dalhausser and Patterson.
Yeah, but one of the best parts of that was the follow-up. Taylor Crabb saying, but the ball hit the sand before he netted.
It's a good argument.
I mean, with the speed of Sander, why not? Speed of Crabb, full set, kick save, and watch out for those boards. That hurts. Chase Buttinger learned that one the hard way a few years back. Check the toe. It's a cheese grater.
Yeah, there is no give in those digital boards over there. You always have to be careful in pursuit. You see Sander going for it. I hope he didn't hit there, but he's taking a little time, cleaning off the glasses now. I think he is all right.
Check yourself. That's not a fun lesson to have to learn. Remember seeing Chase all sorts of scraped up at one point or another. Double clap, and he's back in. 5-8. Nice lift. Overhead dig, but so much pace. It's so intriguing to me as they switch sides, the different types of arm swings that you can see and the different types of kind of pace, we'll call it. So you have some heavy ball, you have a quick arm, you've got a snappy ball. It's always interesting to see the different styles brought about by all four of these individuals, as well as the rest of the athletes on tour. Dane Blanton nodding his head. I'm not sure if he likes that or not.
Couldn't agree with you more. Everybody's got their own style, and I like to call it their arsenal of offense, and it's so fun to watch.
Ball about 10 feet off as Casey Patterson does his best to snap over the top.
Oh,
big swing.
wow.
He hit that so hard he lost his hat.
That was athleticism at its best right there, from about 7 feet off the net. And has to wait for that ball across his body and still gets it at its apex and just crushes that one. That was nice.
Toss maybe a little bit behind him, not where he wanted it. Just finding that in the middle of the net now.
Hardest thing playing Phil and Casey is their consistency. They're veterans. They're not giving you a lot of free points. And so if you don't really exploit those opportunities you get, there's only going to be a small number. Here's another.
And Taylor did get a hand on it off of Phil. That was Taylor Crabb up at the net. But again, opportunities are starting to become limited. What is that, a growl?
That's a roar. Casey Patterson, like I said, when he's engaged and fired up, look out.
I think that mullet hawk's doing something to him. See Pat checking down. Just getting a little bit of a wry contact there off the top of his hand. 9-10, they're keeping things close.
There's an unforced error, out of bounds, miss hit. Don't see that often. Need to capitalize on the momentum here for Sander and Crabb. What a great set. Phil putting Casey right in the middle of the court. You can see Casey kind of check down right before he hits and then just really pick his spot on the court.
Casey Patterson from the service line now. He's been tossing them inbounds. He's got one ace on the match thus far. Wow. Phil thought he had a good read on it there. You saw the delay and try and hang time. 11-10, 1-point game into the technical timeout. And we've talked about Casey Patterson playing alongside Phil Dalhausser. Here's Casey.
The most exciting part is just playing with him in general. I used to be a full-time blocker when I first started. And the first tournament I won in 2009, I was full-time blocking. And so I played him one time and I was like, I'm not gonna be able to go to a much higher level if I stay here. So I was like, I gotta play defense and maybe one day I'll get the chance to play with him. So I'm super excited. I was probably more nervous than the guys playing that we played today because I was like, I'm finally getting to play with Phil. So it's been a fun time so far, getting that first match out of the way. And you know, he's, in my opinion, the greatest player ever in the game. So I mean, he proved it in Austin. Like, he doesn't even train, can show up and split block, play defense, transition. And he's just smooth as ever. So I'm just happy to be here and stoked to learn from him in this, this event today.
19 seasons on tour for Casey Patterson, now getting a shot to play alongside the GOAT. Casey Patterson has 18 wins on the AVP tour. His partner, 61. So this duo has got a lot going for them right now.
I remember his first victory. It was with Ty Loomis in Coney Island in 2009. And wow, was that fun to watch. There's a good look at the first two events. Andy Benish winning his first championship with Phil Dalhausser in Austin. Austin's been a special place. That's where Phil won his first tournament back in 2005 with Nick Lucena. And then switching partners, going with Casey Patterson and winning in New Orleans as well. But back to Casey Patterson. Back in 2009, I remember he and Ty Loomis, I believe they beat John Hayden and Sean Scott, who were on fire that year. But to see what he has become and the career that he has had has really been awesome.
So fun to watch, 2009 to now. Casey Patterson getting a shot there to show off those blocking moves, but didn't go his direction. And yet again, French fries on the board.
That's your favorite.
It's an ode to an old friend.
I could use some fries right now.
We're getting hungry here in the booth. We got a little ways to go, Dave. Better stock up. We got women's finals, men's finals still in store.
We're just getting started.
Championship Sunday here at the Hermosa Beach Open. Men's semifinal action. Stadium court as well as court one. Our women's final is set.
Beautiful shot, Taylor Crabb. Casey trying the back flipper, putting everything he had into this one. Here's the roll. Look at the precision of that shot. Patterson got there in time, but he just couldn't get enough on the ball to get it up in the air.
I feel like Casey might be feeling that one tomorrow. Oh, what a dig out of the net. Taylor Crabb doing Taylor Crabb things. Sam, you're asking for some more love here in Hermosa. That play deserves it.
I think it even surprised Taylor Sander. He looked and said, wow, look what's coming out of the net here. Here's the dig into the bottom of the net. Sanders able to fish it out just high enough for Taylor Crabb to get on top of it. And the smart play right down the middle of the court causes a little confusion.
Patterson continuing out of the middle where he likes to attack from on that right side. Working those feet in. 13 all, quieting the crowd quickly. That ball hit the sand before Crabb's feet did.
Wow, Phil Dalhausser. Let's just call him over the net. He doesn't focus on going too high, goes presses. Look how far. He's like a foot and a half on Taylor's side, grabbing the ball almost before it's hit.
That was the block of the weekend for me. And that, to be able to do that play requires a lot of timing. Not only are you waiting to see how far Phil's gonna get, but then also delaying long enough to hold Casey Patterson in defense. 14 all on the side switch, 6 total blocks for Phil Dalhausser, including 5 control blocks. Again, Phil Dalhausser is the king of the net. Another level on that serve from Sander. You could see he went after that one.
Yeah, he knows that you can kind of go back and forth with Phil for only so long. You got to try to get a lead. You can't just hang around. If you hang around and it's 18 all, 19 all, Phil usually closes the door on you. He knows there's a sense of urgency, and you can see it in his serve.
Taking some pace off, and Phil handles that perfectly. And perfectly on the attack as well.
I think I heard the roar again from Casey Patterson. It's deep.
It's somewhere. It's coming from somewhere I haven't seen from Casey before. 15 all.
You know, Jay Roche, he's got his like Sunday game, the DJ. I mean, he holds back, I think.
Yeah, he levels up as we go, knowing we got championship games.
Yeah, he holds back
on
Friday and Saturday, and then like all of a sudden, you know, you just start to feel it a little more.
It's a little edge to
is it
DJ
just
Roche's
me?
game. No, I think you're right on point.
He's got skills.
It's the DJ for the Lakers. $16 all, we're getting close. Crabb and Sander have to find something here. Majority of the side out has gone the direction of Taylor Crabb. They look at Sander now. And again, they're starting to find some short shots in front of Casey Patterson.
They have to make adjustments. Hitting at him is not working because he's playing great defense. You got to start moving him, but the hardest thing is getting past that first line of defense, which is Phil in your face.
Tough serve, Phil again. Just nice off the platform.
Wow, you know what? That is a bit discouraging when you bomb a ball as Taylor Sander just did, and Phil passes it perfectly. We already talked about how he can set, he can block, he can serve, he can play defense, he's proved.
And no one talks about his passing because he never does it.
Yeah, passes perfect right there.
He passes perfect.
He just absorbed that whole deal.
And again, some more cagey play. Phil in the ear of Taylor Crabb right now going, are you kidding me? Stop going to under my armpit right there.
It's a great lineup for Phil. He knows he's tempting him. Hey, this is all I'm giving you right now, is that line shot. If you can hit it, go for it. But keep watching, and he'll keep trying to funnel Taylor into that position. But Taylor has to be perfect every time.
for the tie. Oh. And wow, Casey Patterson showing up at the right time, 18-all.
Here's a good look. Patterson, big step close at the end, and a no-looker facing cross court and
Classic
just
Casey.
Away from body. Really a beautiful hit. The no-look usually from the left is more prevalent, I guess, or common, but from the right, I like it.
And again, you gotta go hats off to Taylor Crabb right now, just cutting up this defense of Dalhausser and Patterson. Take a look at the numbers from set 1 to set 2. Taylor Crabb and Sander now hitting 620. It's the difference you see there in the score now with a 1-point advantage, looking to push this to a third. High ball for Casey Patterson, and high ball into the corner, 19-all.
Here's where Phil really starts to turn it on. I think he really shines when the pressure starts to turn up. They're up a set, it's 19-all. He knows now it's a win-by-2 situation. Gonna try to get a tough serve or a block.
Wind starting to pick up just slightly in the face of Phil Dalhausser. Well handled out of the middle for Sander. Blocks back. You called it, Dane Blanton. It's Phil Dalhausser time.
Wow, Phil, so fun to watch, never disappoints. Makes sure that ball is served in, gets to the net in plenty of time, and then he makes a huge move against Taylor Sander. And look again how far over the net he is, and a little fist pump as well.
7 blocks for Phil Dalhausser, now with match ball. Crabb needs a side out. And Casey Patterson takes the hat off his partner. It's 20-all.
Yeah, I thought Phil should have waited for that ball into the net. I had a tough angle on it, but this ball's dug. It's going, oh, it's to the left
Couldn't
side.
have gotten out of the way.
Yeah, from my first angle, I thought it was in front of him, but there's nothing Phil could have done on that one. Came a little in hot.
Usually, Phil gets abused above the height of the net. Attackers finding the top of his head with some of those split blocks, but this time came at the hand of his own partner. 20-all. Must win by 2. Short serve to CPAT. Gotta find more defense again. Option play, blocked. Taylor Sander. A massive play on an option play. He just shut down Phil Dalhausser.
Taylor Sander right here. Check it out. Here's the dig, keeps the ball just in play. Phil tries to option, but Sander is right in that groove zone and blocks it deep in the court. 21-20, this one getting pretty interesting.
Just looked at the smiles of those two, Crabb and Sander, walking off the sand right now after timeouts called from Dalhausser and Patterson. I think that might have been one of Taylor Crabb's favorite plays of his partner right there. That's a big time moment, and just like that, it is now set ball the opposite direction. Crabb and Sander have a shot to move this to game number 3. So who will the winner of this play? It looks like Brunner and Schock have picked up the victory on the other semi-final. It was another 3-set battle, but ultimately the number 2 seed showing up. Brunner and Schock will be seen on Stadium Court in just a while. Taylor Crabb, Taylor Sander, Dalhausser, and Patterson. 1 spot left. Who will it fill? Maybe Phil himself.
What I liked about that last play, I mean, the moment was there and they stepped up in the moment right there. That is a huge block by Taylor Sander. Now they need to capitalize on that momentum, capitalize the fact that they have the advantage here and push this thing to a 3rd set.
Taylor Crabb will have the serve.
Easier said than done.
Yeah, no kidding. When you got those two on the other side. I'm curious what the defensive setup's going to be against Casey Patterson. They go short, make him have to move. Perfect set, tight ball, and the joust. It must be all that time on the pickleball court. Look at those muscles.
Check this joust out. This is for the set. So a very pressure situation. Falling back, Phil puts it right on point. And that is a huge victory at the net for Patterson, but got to give a lot of credit to Phil. The fallback set right in his wheelhouse.
No one does the fall down set better than Phil Dalhausser. Oh, and again, some more partner on partner crime. Casey Patterson misses the serve and ends up smacking Phil Dalhausser with the recoil off the net.
That's a tough miss. I like what he was going for. That short ball would have caused all sorts of problems, but it was just a little bit too short.
Sander will have a shot for the set. Top serve, ace, and we're going 3. Pound down from the service line. Taylor Gang wants to see the third.
That's how you do great things. Big risk, big reward. If he didn't turn it up like that, he would have probably lost that set and we would be all done. But Taylor Sander knew the moment was big.
You think back to the play where Taylor Sander blocked the option of Phil Dalhausser, changing the tide, and he seals it off with an ace. Game 3 up after this.
I'm Carrie Walsh Jennings. I've played with lots of injuries and sore muscles. KT Tape has helped me push past the pain. Today, clinical studies prove what I've always known, that using KT Tape before, during, and after workouts can reduce muscle soreness. Whether it's the Olympics or the local gym, pain is pain.
Tape up with KT Tape, the #1 kinesiology tape. Use it for muscle soreness and many common injuries. KT Tape, train longer, finish stronger.
KT Tape works for me, it'll work for you.
Dear mainland, aloha. My brother and I hear that most of you only disable your phones when you fly. You call it airplane mode. But maybe you don't have to get on a plane to get away, yeah? Allow my brother to demonstrate. You know what we call this? Kona mode. One life, right? Mahalo.
Longboard Island Lager and Big Wave Golden Ale from Kona Brewing.
One game left to be played in this men's semifinal between Casey Patterson, Phil Dalhausser, Taylor Crabb, and Taylor Sander. We're having a blast here on Stadium Court for Championship Sunday. Who will be moving on to the final? Cameron Irwin alongside Dane Blanton. Will it be that guy right there who stepped up clutch in set number 2? A big-time block plus the ace to finish it off. Or will it be Casey Patterson finding some epic side out in game number 3? Some youth versus some big-time experience. And we are now underway. Game 3. Is it in? No, it's just wide.
You just got to think that this thing is going to come down to the last couple of points for sure. Back and forth as we saw the second set. And it's going to take everything for Casey Patterson to dig deep, because I think he's going to continue to serve the majority of the balls, and that will be interesting. How involved will Phil get trying to take over on the second contact?
Yeah, and that's a great call by you, because I believe that's the first option we've seen inside out. We saw the one in transition, but Phil hasn't necessarily looked to option out of the side out. So let's see how much he gets involved.
Nice hit by Taylor Crabb, hanging in the air. Great vision. Sometimes he's so cagey that he waits just a little bit and then he rips the ball on the way down.
Phil. And he even finds a missed contact. Things go into Crabb and Sander at the start of game 3. option from, that was above the height of the stands here in Stadium Court. Talk about timing from Phil.
That was really nice, and you know what was so difficult about that? That ball had backspin on it, so Phil had to hit that ball when it was rotating in the opposite direction, and when that is the case, a lot of times you see miss hits. Not that time.
Phil Dalhausser looking for some tough serves. Great hands, and you hear the ripping call from the crowd, and he does exactly that into the angle. 4-2. We played a 15, a must win by 2. Taylor Crabb hitting .516, his partner .316 on the match. Deep load on the block, but a great touch. Quick out of the sand is Taylor Crabb. Unreal play from Taylor Crabb. Perfect control on the layout.
Just so deceptive. When he gets an opportunity after this beautiful right-handed dig, gathers himself, comes in, takes a look, sees that the line is open, and then has the ability to execute it just about every time.
And that's a great shot. Finding the middle. Why is that so good?
Well, it's just, you know, it's a smart shot. The middle is usually a very vulnerable position because even if the blocker's dropping, they're going to usually stay on their line, and the defender's going to stay in the angle. But there you see, deep middle. Taylor Crabb was taking that angle, and Taylor Sander was blocking the line. Middle was open.
Oh, Taylor Sanders showing his beach chops. Up and over the block of Phil.
Yeah, great deception, right? He gets up, looks like he's going to crush this thing. And that is the magic, disguising your shots to look like hits.
And Phil, again, starting to assert himself more and more.
Yeah, I think he's going to have to because they are almost exclusively going to Casey Patterson. He's going to have to relieve some of that pressure.
See if he can alleviate some of that pressure by finding one here. Quick set. And right off the knee of Casey Patterson. That set was not easily made.
Yeah, I don't think you get too much argument. Taylor Crabb has the quickest arm swing on the beach. Gets up and just lightning, he's able to put that velocity on the ball. It almost looks like he's going to shoot, and he still has that ability to crush it.
Another great fall down set, but platform, and is it there? No.
What an effort there by Taylor Sander and Taylor Crabb, laying it out almost into the banners there, and they nearly got this one over. Sander with the right-hand stab, protects himself a little bit, and then Crabb a little disappointed. He knows he can make that play.
7-5 now. And again, I have been so impressed from Taylor Crabb's ability to find the smallest angles on the court and find success there.
You know, if I'm Phil and Casey, I'm switching it up. I'm going to go to Taylor Sander and put more pressure on him because he's not going to hit the shots quite as crisp as Taylor Crabb because, you know, no one does on tour.
That's a good point.
And he may be more susceptible to an error or scoring points. But right now, Casey and Phil are in a little bit of trouble. They have to switch some things around.
So they're going to take a timeout to figure out exactly what those switches are going to be. Maybe, to your point, they go a little bit more heavily at Taylor Sanders. See if they can get some of those blocks off tough swings. We'll have to see what happens coming out of this. Right now it's a 4-point game between these two, Dalhausser, Patterson, Crabb, and Sander. Cameron Irwin alongside Dane Blanton. The numbers are starting to get a little wild here into set number 3. Crabb and Sander are errorless in this third set. 4 kills for Crabb, 2 for Sander, 0 errors. Dalhausser and Patterson, it's a different story. 2 errors at the hand of Phil Dalhausser, 1 from Patterson. So starting to mount up for Dalhausser and Patterson. Here's one more quick look at our road to the title in the 2022 Hermosa Beach Open. That 16 seed did a number in this tournament. Dietrich and Smith, they had an outrageous tournament, ending up with a loss here on Sunday, but nonetheless had a great battle through. Brunner and Schock await the winner of this semifinal here on Stadium Court. Who will they face off against? Could it be Crabb and Sander? Taylor Sander looking for his first title on the AVP Tour. He needs a few points here for a shot at it. Another tough serve. Unreal set from Phil Dalhausser. They get the ball back. Option, poked, and it's sent again. Lefty, loosey, Phil Dalhausser. It doesn't matter what hand he uses.
So impressive right there. Notices exactly what is going on the court. That ball's coming to his left side, and he knows the right side is open, and he's got the confidence to use that left hand. Phil has it all.
So casual. I love that. Might as well just pull out the left. 6'9".
For those of you at home, go try to practice that play he pulled out next time you're down at the beach. Not easy.
Taylor Crabb taking an extra breath there alongside his partner, saying, whew, thank goodness that one was long. It's 10-6. There are some roars in the crowd. I think someone's getting a food delivery to Pound Town.
I think you're right. Some pizza.
Calling him the MVP. Who will be the MVP here? It could be Sander.
Wow. Now, what I was saying, the damage now has been done by the Taylors. Up 11-6. Now they just need to settle down and side out 4 times. But spectacular plays like this have put them into this position. Wow. And there it is. Are they going to bring the piece down to us?
Come on, guys. Taylor Crabb. Casey Patterson all over it. Phil just sends it. Open net. Let him know, Taylor Sander. 12-6. He's rocking the hat sideways, and why not when you're playing like that?
What athleticism, what a play right here. Great dig, but it was touched by Phil. He had to go over the net. What happens there? An open net on the second contact. Taylor Sander starting to feel it. He knows he's just a few plays away from advancing to his first final. Second final. That's right.
Was this a rematch of New Orleans?
New Orleans.
But looking for his first title, so you're not far. 12-6. Good pace from Casey Patterson. Phil from the next level. That's flag hype right there.
Very impressive how the Taylors have handled themselves throughout this match. Really stayed steady, stayed with their game plan, and put themselves in a fantastic position here.
Tight ball, and again, he's finding those short angles so beautifully. It's forcing Casey Patterson to have to make big plays at the net. And with Phil going up trying to reach this, he's staying up on his block that extra second longer. There's no way he can come down and play that.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Taylor's kind of figured out over these last few plays how to get around Phil and how to get that ball down successfully.
Ooh, our line judge nearly took one to the feet. 13-8. (8-13). Dalhausser and Patterson have to find some magic. Quick hands. Free ice cream.
Phil so composed right there. Looked like he was going to set the ball. Last second goes up, hits that ball with his left hand. Here's a good look at it.
So if he has 2 left-handed kills, is that like an extra stats like line? Like your offhand kill? Why not?
Lefty kills.
13-9 now. An extra breath from Phil Dalhausser before the serve. That ball is spinning sideways, and now it's spinning to the sand. Handling it perfectly is Taylor Crabb.
Little sweet revenge this could be. As you mentioned, this was the final in New Orleans, and it was a close one there.
Finished 15-13 in the third in New Orleans. Right now, Crabb and Sander have a few looks to make it to the final. It's at Phil. Casey goes full send. He's got to play defense. Sander off the block and into the final. For the second time on the 2022 season, Crabb and Sander are moving on to the final. They take down the Giants in Dalhausser and Patterson.
You know, what was so impressive about that run was the game management. There was a time when Phil was taking over the match. He was stuffing balls straight down, but what did Taylor Sander and Taylor Crabb do? They kept their composure, they didn't flinch, they stuck with their game plan, and they played at 1 point at a time, and they are on the road to the final, looking for their first AVP championship as partners.
That man is ecstatic at the moment. He's got a few hours, maybe about an hour or so to recover before heading into the final. Hugs for Rich Lamborn and crew, as well as brother to Taylor Sander.
Yeah, it was a battle. Phil, as we spoke about, was doing Phil things, getting up, stuffing balls, but then Taylor Crabb started to crack the code, slipping by the block, and I think the emotional level of the Taylors was on another level, and that's what catapulted them to the victory.
Yeah, you just think back to that block from Taylor Sander in the end of set 2 that changed the tide a little bit, right? The block on the option play from Phil Dalhausser, and all of a sudden it's that plus the ace to close it out, and you could feel the momentum start to shift their direction. And then they came out just relentless in game number 3, like you mentioned. Phil was still phenomenal doing things like that, hanging those hands over the net. I think he ended up with more than 10 blocks, why not? Because he's Phil Dalhausser, but ultimately too much pressure from the service line and the defensive play from those two.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. That over on 2 block by Sander on Phil was a turning point. If that doesn't happen, Phil and Casey possibly win this in straight sets.
Yeah, definitely a chance there as we now fill out the bracket. The final is set for both the men and the women. Taylor Crabb, Taylor Sander, Brunner and Schock, that's Theo Brunner and Kame Schock, are facing off 2 versus 5. But what we have next, it's time for the Women's Championship. The 1 and 2 seeds facing off. A former partnership as well finds themselves on opposing sides of the net. Cannon, Sponsel, Chang, and Flint. That's coming up right here from Hermosa Beach. We'll see you back on the stadium.
Very shortly for the women's final, everybody. 17 minutes and 45.5 seconds. Less than 10 minutes, actually 8.5 minutes. Until the finals here in Hermosa Beach at their outside stadium courts. And you think you have a spot saved inside stadium court, well, you better go and claim it. You better make your way back on over here because it is go time in 8 minutes.
Oh, that's such a good hit. Nice one.